Cairo. Like, that was one of both of ours. Like, it was the main reason why we wanted to come. That was what enticed us to come, right? And for different reasons, right? Of course, and I want to touch on yours, like, your grandfather, your origins, how you were dressed when we went, the frame of mind that you were in. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect. This was my first time in Cairo. And I talk about it often on, your show or on Queer News Tonight and Happening Out, that's on Wednesday nights, our entertainment show, about being first generation Muslim American, and what that has meant to me. So being in Egypt in, a predominantly Islamic states, was pretty eye-opening to me, just to be able to see street signs that are in Arabic and buildings that have, Arabic on it, and other people that have names and people who look like me, just like
and people who say your name and people who say your name differently. Sorry, not differently, correctly.
Yeah, so it's true. It's the same thing, So Cal is short for Khalid. Or Khaled, and like the famous signature song from DJ Khaled. Some people say Khaled, some people say Khalid, and I've grown up with that all of my life. And I just go by Cal for short, but my full name is Khaled in Arabic, which means eternal.
Beautiful.
Which is really cool just to had been in that, those surroundings, and getting to the pyramids was just such an overwhelming feeling, because we've all, either seen it in movies or learned about it in school. But when I tell you that the pyramids are bigger than anything you have ever seen in your life, I was blown away at how massive the pyramids are.
Massive. I'm going to use your face real quick.
And I've had the opportunity to travel, in Mexico.
Not the same.
To see the pyramids there, like Chichen Itza and
Machu Picchu and Peru, and like none of that.
Teotihuacan, the pyramid, and those pyramids are big and they're great. But when you see these pyramids in Egypt, they are larger than life.
Wow, larger than all our lives. Yeah. And breathtaking, and there's sand everywhere, and sand is hitting you on the face, and you don't seem to mind it. Like, it's just there's an energy there that I really can't really explain. I mean, that Giza Plateau and everything that it has on it, the Sphinx, all of that. So let's talk about you had a hat on. You had a traditional.
So I had a traditional, like, Islamic hat on. My great grandfather on my mother's side is Egyptian, and so my grandfather was born in Guyana in South America, and so was my mom, and I'm first generation American. So it was just really like heartwarming just to be back in the country where my great grandfather was from, and not only that, but I mean, to be in an area that is 6,000 years old.
Yeah, and you can't even put that into perspective. It's like BC folks. You know what I mean? Like, everything seems to be gauged by Christ, and if you just think about that, it's mind blowing.
And this is before Christ.
Exactly. And so, and like what you were telling me about how there's thoughts that those are just the top of what things
there's
were.
All these conspiracies, right? Because things are always being discovered, and there's a lot of talk about the pyramids and how they are the tops of of these obliques,
Crazy.
like how you have like, so if you think about the Washington Monument in DC, you know how it's a big oblique and it has like the pyramid on top. So there are theories that they could possibly, there's more to the body of the pyramids, because the more deeper they discover inside of these tombs and the pyramids, it goes deep down into the ground.
Wow.
So who knows what's under there?
Who knows? Yeah, and when they'll be able to find it. Did you feel safe?
I did.
100%.
100%. I had no concerns.
Okay. I mean, we did have an armed guard.
We did have an armed guard.
So that, and that's something that was told to us recently, like right before. I'm glad that I was told that I didn't know that before. And it's common, okay? Like when it comes to people getting off the cruise ships, from other countries, etc., they protect their visitors, and it's law that you have to have an armed guard after a certain amount of people. So in whatever bus bus people were on, there was an armed guard there. And, you know, depends on where you go. It depends on how you feel about things. You either feel safer or you feel like, wow, I'm in the middle of a war zone. Like, what did I put myself in the middle of? You know?
No, definitely. And I honestly at times forgot that we had a guard.
Okay.
I think I was just in the moment.
Yes.
And just taking it all in. And there was just a overwhelming sense of calmness when I was there. You know, being in the Sahara Desert, like, it's just quiet.
I love that. And I love that. And I wish that you could see it through my eyes, folks, because watching Khaled during that time was quite extraordinary, because he was walking, like, you know, for the most part, there's like 4 of us that are hanging out, right? It's a good friend of ours, Alejandro, and it's Cal, myself, and my wife. And then we all separate and then come back together and blah, blah, blah. But in Cairo, I really felt that, like, it looked like Cal was on his own, right? But then when you would look over and look at him, he was just like not mesmerized. He was taken aback by things. And it just seemed like you were there with spirits. Like you were there, you were not alone. You were accompanied, but not by us, right?
Yeah.
And you were like on your own journey. And like you probably could have stayed there for days and days, and that for sure.
Yeah,
you know?
I definitely felt like if we had a couple days in Cairo, I would have loved it. And I definitely felt maybe that's what that overwhelming calmness was. Maybe my ancestors were there with me. You know, who knows? But it was such a great experience. And anyone who ever has the opportunity to travel to Cairo, I highly recommend it.
Please do so, yes. And they're really big, you know. Our crew, everybody was just, please, you know, please cover your shoulders. Please make sure that your dresses are below the knees. Boys, please don't wear shorts. But, you know, they were very, very cautious with us, to a point where they kind of instilled a little bit of fear. And I'm not going to lie, right? Yeah. And because of that, that's why I was all over the place in the morning, where I didn't know what to put on, where to go, what to do.
It's the unknown.
It's the unknown. It's the unknown. And, you know, they were much more welcoming than I expected, right? But also, at the end of the day, you're going to be respectful to someone else's culture that is not your own.
Right.
You know, and I think that even if I went out there and saw people in bathing suits, I still would have done what I did, because it's not my culture, and I am here as a visitor, and I appreciate that.
And I think that's what also was exciting about it, because, you know, even the way that I was dressed yesterday, of course, you know, I did it for myself, but I also did it for...
Which you're going to see a picture right now. See? Bloop. There you see it.
You know, I did it for the culture. You know, I did it for my ancestors.
Yes,
I did it because the hat I was wearing is, you know, the hat that my grandfather gave me, and I felt like it was something that, you know, they even offered to buy it for me.
Just about to ask you about that.
Different guys that came up that were selling merchandise, you know, at the pyramids, and they're like, "Oh, nice hat! Like, you want to? Can we trade? Can I get it?"
Steal his hat.
They want my hat. I'm like, "No, it's my gift for my grandfather."
He's so cute. He loves his grandfather, so of course he's like, "No, it's for my grandfather." I'm like, "How much? What do you want? What do you want for it?" Anyway, so you know, Cairo, I think, will be moments and memories that Cal and I will never forget. We got to ride a camel, and that was an experience in itself, and it was wonderful. And if you follow our social media, you saw that we blasted our pictures all throughout that. That was definitely an experience. So, did you enjoy the show? I know you did. So make sure to click subscribe so you won't miss any of the events, news, or interviews right here on the Faye What Show. Ring the bell at the bottom of the screen, right there, so you'll be alerted every time we're live. You can also click on the Happening Out Television Network logo, so you can see all of the shows on the most diverse LGBTQ+ media network. Find out just what we're doing to bring the L and the G together right here on the Faye What Show. Get the week started with me.